Good morning. It is 9:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, Water Filtration Systems, Water Softeners, BetterWater.com. We got Jay Harper in the newsroom. We got Mason Fleming producing. The Fro looks strong, Mason. Check out the Fro on Super Talk TV, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube.
It's pushing, it's growing.
Hit like for the Fro. Fro looks good, dude. Looks good. We got a big show today. We're really excited. Somebody on Friday said, you've spent way too much time talking about Mason's hair. Stop it.
Yeah, they said focus on the news.
Said, stop it. Get some help. Okay. All right, I'll stop it. I promise. I'll get a little help. If I can. I'll try.
Stop it. Get some help.
Yeah. We will. We got a lot to talk about today. I got some stuff, man. I got some stuff to say. I don't know if you're aware of this. I tend to have opinions. Rededicate 250 happened over the weekend. Thousands of Christians flooding D.C. in the National Mall to rededicate America to faith. I'm a huge fan of this. I think that there's a lot of things wrong with this country, and the way that we get it back on the right track is by once again establishing that America is a Christian nation. That's it. That's how we were founded. And this country works better when our Christian faith is at the forefront. That's my opinion. You can argue with me if you disagree, and you're welcome to 615-737-9986. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about the redistricting battle. Justin Pearson over the weekend said, so we got a movement. There's a movement happening. And I'm thinking to myself, you can't have a movement if you don't have any motion. And there's no motion in your movement. So we'll talk about that. There's no motion. Do the Democrats have any motion in the redistricting wars? Have they gotten any massive wins after California? No motion. Sorry. Spoiler alert. There's no movement. There's no motion. So we'll talk about that. We'll also give you the latest on Iran, the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, Dubai, where they were hit by a drone attack over the weekend, causing a nuclear power plant fire, thanks to Iran. Donald Trump saying the calm before the storm. The clock is ticking. Da-da-da-da-da. It's like, oh, still doing that? Still doing that. All right, cool. We'll talk about that as well. And then Donald Trump versus everybody. Senator Bill Cassidy got completely shut out of his Senate seat, which is pretty wild. I don't know if you know this, but this is the first time in just about 15 years that a sitting U.S. senator has lost their primary in a non-special election. This is a big piece of news. And it actually shows that the Donald Trump endorsement still carries a lot of weight. Trump-backed Julie Letlow came in the lead in that primary, but Senator Bill Cassidy also lost to the guy coming in second, which is John Fleming. Cassidy couldn't even crack the top two. And we wish you the best in your future endeavors, sir. We'll talk about that. Bill Cassidy being ousted by MAGA. I think that's probably the spot that we should begin. This is a John Thune ally, and he is officially out, which is a huge win. It is. I think that we need to start seriously looking at removing John Thune as the Senate Majority Leader because he hasn't done diddly squat with the time and the momentum and the just mandate from the American people when it comes to Donald Trump's agenda. Trump has had to do it himself every step of the way, and I think that that's infuriating. Imagine where we would be if they had nuked the filibuster 3 months ago. And before they say, oh, well, the Senate, oh, we have tradition and we have norms and we can't do this in the Senate. It's like Kamala Harris is out there last week saying there's no bad ideas in the Democrat Party. And we should think about nuking the filibuster. We should think about making D.C. and Puerto Rico a state. We should think about stacking and packing the Supreme Court. We should think about amnestying 30 million illegal aliens. That's the future that awaits us if the Democrats ever regain power. Now, if we nuked the filibuster and we got the Save America Act over the finish line, well, guess what? It's harder for them to cheat in elections, and it makes it that much more difficult for the Democrats to regain power. Do the Republicans have issues? Absolutely. Are they the lesser of two evils? 100%. I know some people don't like it. Some people don't like doing the lesser of two evil thing. But there would be no more choice if we don't do the lesser of two evil thing. the Democrats will run away with this the moment they have the opportunity. And we have seen everybody in the highest levels of the Democrat Party say just that in open, and not in closed doors with donors, not behind the scenes, but like live on TV, live in Zoom meetings, just to anybody that will listen to them. So I think that we need to get rid of John Thune. I think John Thune is just trash. I posted it over the weekend. It's time to get rid of John Thune. That's just me. So we got we'll talk about that. Let's start with Bill Cassidy, ousted by MAGA over the weekend, and not a moment too soon. He gave a nice speech. He did.
This was not the result that I necessarily wanted.
No kidding.
But I feel great. When you participate in democracy, sometimes it doesn't turn out the way you want it to. But you don't pout. You don't whine. You don't claim the election was stolen. You don't find a reason why. You don't manufacture some excuse. You thank the voters for the privilege of representing the state or the country for as long as you've had that privilege. This was not the...
So, you know what? I'll give him a little bit of respect there. I'll give him a little tip of the hat. He didn't bee and moan on his way out. Took the high road. Congratulations. If you want to know why he got ousted, let's just take you back to February of 2021. This is that same Senator Bill Cassidy.
People want to trust. They want to trust their leaders. They want people to be held accountable. Now, I'm attempting to hold President Trump accountable. And that is the trust I have from the people that elected me. And I am very confident that as time passes, people will move to that position.
So you think you'll eventually represent a majority view in Louisiana?
You know, number one, I think I may already represent a majority view.
Do you think he can run a credible campaign for president again? Will he remain a force in the Republican Party? What does that mean for the Republican Party?
I think his force wanes. The Republican Party...
Okay. I think his force wanes, actually. George Slopadopoulos, I think President Trump's power of the Republican Party is going away. I think he's not the kingmaker everybody thinks he is. I think he needs to be held accountable. That was Bill Cassidy after he voted to convict Donald Trump in the Senate on the impeachment stuff. This guy has been having bad takes for years. And there's a lot of other senators that are just like him, by the way. This was Bill Cassidy in February 2023.
Well, a couple things. I don't think Trump can win a general election, but that's a nice way for him to diss people like Tim Scott, who's a pretty formidable candidate. So you just have to take this as a competitor trying to diss others. On the other hand, during the last election cycle, we saw that in all the swing states, almost all, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Nevada, and Arizona, that the candidates for Senate that Trump endorsed all lost. If you had taken the votes that went to other Republicans and put them together, those Republicans would have won. So I think the president's kind of high-profile endorsement of those candidates actually hurt those candidates, at least in the general election. So if past his prologue, that means President Trump is going to have a hard time in those swing states, which means that he cannot win a general election.
I mean, his takes age like milk. And I just would point out, Bill Cassidy's not the only senator that thinks this way. I think John Thune echoes a lot of this same sentiment from Bill Cassidy. John Thune is absolute trash. How did Donald Trump do in the swing states in 2024? I am having a hard time remembering. Did he lose all the swing states? I can't. Somebody will help me on the text line. You guys are smart. It was on the tip of my tongue. I knew. I'll Google it during the commercial break so I could remember correctly, because I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I thought he did pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. And then he said, he's like, oh, he lost. He did a tough time in the swing states. Derp-a-doo. Fun fact, the DOJ is actually looking into that election. And they're looking into that election heavily. Todd Blanche over the weekend saying that he has some evidence, some incredibly troubling things when it comes to the 2020 election. And I think that this statement was pretty big, to be perfectly honest with you. This is Todd Blanche, the acting attorney general, on with Maria Bartiromo over the weekend. And Attorney General Blanche confirmed that the Russia hoax is about to come out, but not just the Russia hoax, that they're actively investigating the fraud of 2020. And that the fraud in 2020 happened in those swing states where Senator Bill Cassidy said Donald Trump had a lot of trouble and none of his endorsed senators won. And also, just to take a step back before we get into the cheating by the Democrats, in Arizona, which is one of those areas where the senator who Trump endorsed, Kari Lake, lost in 2020, Mitch McConnell and all those goons, the old guard of the Republican Party that are still lingering on for some godforsaken reason. They don't have any interest in going home and spending time with their grandkids after they have made millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. They don't have to do this work anymore, but for some reason they continue to do it. You tell me why. But they didn't spend any money on Kari Lake in Arizona. They just didn't. They didn't manage their resources well at all. And this is a problem that still persists in the Republican Party. It just does. They are throwing bad money at John Cornyn in the primary in Texas for senator. And he's going to lose to Ken Paxton. Spoiler alert. He just is. Nobody wants John Cornyn in there. And then they refuse to throw money at causes that are worthwhile, like the Virginia referendum on the redistricting battle there. They were outspent by Democrats 3-1. In Virginia. Just disgusting. Just gross. What and a blatant, just disastrous waste of your resources. But on the 2020 front, AG Todd Blanche said that the DOJ has multiple 2020 election fraud investigations going on now in Georgia and Arizona. And he says that they got some evidence.
She just said that we're going to find out that President Trump actually did win certain states in the 2020 election. Now, the president says all the time that the election was rigged. What have you done about that? Do you have any evidence that the election was rigged? What can you tell us?
Well, there's a ton of evidence that the election was rigged. That's not...
Whoa. What? The question was, do you have any evidence that the election was rigged? And the acting attorney general of the United States on live TV over the weekend said there is a ton of evidence that the election was rigged. This is a big statement, and it's different than Donald Trump popping off on social media. You understand that, right? This is the acting attorney general, and he said that there is a ton of evidence that the election was rigged.
Well, there's a ton of evidence that the election was rigged. That's not something the DOJ needs to tell you about. There's been evidence about that for many, many years. What I can tell you is that we have multiple investigations going on in Arizona, in Georgia, in Fulton County, Georgia, and that's exactly what we're looking at. By the way, this is very difficult because they're very good. They're very good at hiding up misconduct and hiding what they're doing. And so that's why we're very focused on finding out whether the right people voted, whether people who were supposed to vote voted, whether there was one vote cast per voter. And that's what we're doing in multiple states. And I expect, and again, people, you'll say to me, how long is it taking? Why is it taking so long? And the reality, the answer to that is because it takes a lot of work to uncover what happened in 2020. It takes a lot of old, good old-fashioned law enforcement police work, which is what we're doing, and we have great prosecutors working on it as well. And I expect that, and I assure the American people that as soon as we have something to say for it, whether it's charges, whether it's a report, whether it's the results of an investigation, the American people will learn about what we've uncovered.
Yeah.
It better be charges. I'll be honest with you. If we get a strongly worded report, it will be the letdown of a lifetime. It just will. We need silver bracelets. That is the only thing that should be acceptable to the American public. Everyone knows that election did not pass the sniff test, that fraud happened, that cheating happened. We need silver bracelets. We do. And we need accountability. The window is quickly closing on the chances for accountability here. And if you want to restore Americans' faith in the Republican Party, especially given all the turmoil that we've seen since Donald Trump got back in office, this is one of the ways to do it. Here and the Russia collusion hoax. Now, acting Attorney General Todd Blanche said that we are going to be getting some information on Russia on the way as well. I'll bring you those comments when we get back. Again, there's a lot to get to today. You're welcome to join the show any way you'd like. We're live on YouTube and Rumble. You can jump in the chat, hail to the chat. You can text us, and you can call us. Same number for both, 615-737-9986. My name is Chris Hand. This is The Chris Hand Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at United Structural Systems. And if you're starting to notice cracks in your walls, uneven floors, or a driveway that is starting to sink, this isn't just a home issue. It's a peace of mind issue. And who you're going to call and trust to fix it, that absolutely matters. This is why I recommend United Structural Systems. These guys have been doing this kind of work the right way since 1994 right here in Tennessee. If they were doing it the wrong way, they wouldn't have made it this far. These guys come to your home, and they don't bring scare tactics. They don't bring quick fixes, and they don't send a sales guy worried about a quota. They send a pro who is going to give you a real inspection, honest answers, and then they'll give you solutions that are built to last. So whether it's foundation repair, crawl space issues, concrete leveling for your driveway or patio, USS is going to use engineered systems designed for long-term performance, not temporary patches. And here's what stands out. If you don't need the work, well, they'll tell you don't need the work. And if you do, they'll explain exactly why before anything starts. Right now, they're offering 24 months, no interest financing, but only through the end of June. So don't wait. Take advantage of these deals today. Visit USSTN.com or call 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855. United Structural Systems, committed to their customers and invested in what matters most. They are USSTN.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis from Super Talk 99.7 WTN and Nashville's Morning News. I'm here with Chris from USS, United Structural Systems. He's checking out my basement, my foundation, my crawl space to see if there's anything wrong. Fingers crossed. All right, so there's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is we found some cracks in my basement wall. The good news, I've got Chris here who's going to walk me through the next steps.
Yes, so unfortunately, your house has been subject to the pressure of the dirt. The hydrostatic pressure, heavy dirt pushes on foundation walls, and you've got a little bit of what we call bowing. So that wall is pushed in a little bit. We have a lifetime warranty solution for that. So we install, usually in a day or two, this can be done in most situations. We install carbon fiber straps, which keep the wall from moving inward at any point in the future. It's a lifetime warranty for anybody that ever owns this house. So it's a quick and routine thing that we do, but it yields some long-lasting benefits.
It's a great selling point if you want to sell your house.
Absolutely. Good thing about our warranties is they're not only transferable, like the contract says, they're automatically transferred when you sell your house. So you don't have to sign any paperwork or even send us an email saying that you sold your house. Warranty would transfer to the next owner.
So, is there an end in sight anytime soon for the war in Iran? We'll have some folks weighing in on that. Also, surprise, surprise, oil prices keep going up, and a shooting in Clarksville, but will anyone be charged? We'll have all that coming up at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Jay Harper in the newsroom. Headlines on the way in less than 2 minutes here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. I got a text. There's angry texters. It's always angry texters. Silver bracelets for Epstein criminals. Oh, you forgot. White people get a pass that vote Republican. I constantly say that we need silver bracelets for Epstein criminals. We have a promo running on the station where I call out Todd Blanche for saying that it was done, that it's over. I don't think it is. I think we need accountability across the board. I think a lot of people need silver bracelets, up to and including Epstein, but also the stolen election of 2020 and the Russia collusion hoax. We should be able to walk and chew gum at the exact same time. Todd Blanche over the weekend confirmed that there is going to be some information coming out soon as the DOJ continues to probe the coup against President Trump based on that Russia collusion hoax.
We're finding out some incredibly troubling things, and at some point at the right time, that will be made public, and the American people will see exactly what happened to this administration and President Trump over the past decade.
Well, I mean, the country was ripped apart. We all know that. Half of the country said he colluded with Russia. The other half said, no, it didn't. I mean, it ripped the country apart. But you say when the time is right. When is the time right? When should we expect these charges of conspiracy?
Great question.
Well, I mean, look, as has been publicly reported, the Southern District of Florida has an open criminal investigation. That involves hundreds of subpoenas. It involves hundreds of witnesses. And so as far as timing and when we can expect it, we are working hard and we are working efficiently, but we are going to do it right. We are not going to rush something that isn't ready. We're not going to reach a conclusion before our investigation is over. But I assure you, and I assure the American people, that we are completely focused on it.
Okay, well, I don't know what is not ready. I mean, we've been watching this play out for a long time, and viewers and people watching are frustrated because it just keeps happening. Weaponization keeps happening because it's not corrected the time before.
I love that you push back on him. What's not ready? At what point are we going to actually get some accountability here? I think you need to keep the pressure on the acting Attorney General, Todd Blanche. That way we do get some accountability on all fronts where it's needed. 9:30, Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
Coming up on 9:31, I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. Stand by for a weather forecast. Well, at the moment, there does not appear to be an end in sight for the war between U.S. and Iran. A ceasefire between the two countries is still holding, but the Strait of Hormuz, it's still blocked off, and there's no arrangement in the works to let the maritime traffic through. We get now news from ABC's Mary Bruce.
The UAE, a critical American ally, saying its sole nuclear power plant was hit by a drone strike, the country calling it an unprovoked terrorist attack. Iran has not taken responsibility, but the country did fire on the UAE earlier this month.
Oil prices, they went up again overnight, along with tensions in the Middle East. Iranian drones, as we just heard, struck a nuclear plant in the UAE. And the president issued another stark warning to Iran.
Oil prices above $106 a barrel this morning, and that flows almost immediately through to the pump. The national average for a gallon of regular is now $4.47, and it all comes as travelers are preparing to hit the road in record numbers for Memorial Day. Drivers will face the highest price of gas in 4 years, prices up $1.33 a gallon from last year's prices, and still continuing to climb with the region so uncertain.
Back here, by the way, that's Rebecca Jarvis reporting. Back here in Middle Tennessee, the Clarksville Police Department investigating a shooting that reportedly occurred over a home break-in. That happened early this morning. According to the Clarksville Police, at around 2 o'clock this morning, they responded to a shooting in the 2700 block of Trenton Road. Investigators believe a woman shot a man who had broken into her home. The man was reportedly flown to a Nashville hospital with multiple gunshot wounds. His current condition not known. Clarksville police said all individuals involved are cooperating with investigators. There's no ongoing threat to the public and no word on whether any charges have been or will be filed. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
"37 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can listen on all the apps, the FM dial. You can watch us on YouTube and Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe, do the things. Is that enough things for you to do? I feel like that's enough things. It's a lot of things. Plenty of things.
I mean, if we're asking for people to do things.
Tell you what, if you need to do something, you know what you need to do it for the people at your office. You need to go to wallysbeanmachine.com and get yourself a coffee machine. Mason was just saying to me, he's like, it feels like a Monday. Well, I'm dragging. And I said, have you hit up Wally's Bean Machine yet? He said, no. He's working through a monster in the back. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, I have regrets.
I said, it's a good thing we don't have any drywall for you to punch.
Out of a wall for me to bash my head through.
But yeah, wallysbeanmachine.com.
Definitely worth it.
I was drinking my cappuccino. That's the cup.
What number is that?
That's just number 1. Don't worry. Those are rookie
we got
numbers.
Plenty of time.
We'll get those numbers up, I promise you.
Yeah.
wallysbeanmachine.com. So we were talking about, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah, the DOJ. Russiagate, and the stolen 2020 election. I think we need some more accountability. I think that it would actually play really well as we head towards the elections. I think Americans want accountability across several different sectors. I had one person text it. What about Epstein? Yep, I want accountability there too. I do. And I just want to see what happens. Donald Trump has been taking aim at everybody. We mentioned Bill Cassidy earlier today. Who lost his primary over the weekend. Good. See ya. You're terrible, along with the rest of the old guard Republicans. But there's somebody else that is now in the crosshairs of President Trump. And I was honestly surprised about this. Lauren Boebert. Lauren Boebert is now getting some heat from President Trump. Lauren Boebert over the weekend caught the ire of Donald Trump. He said, is anyone interested in running against the weak-minded Lauren Boebert in Colorado's 4th Congressional District? You remember Lauren moved to the district when it became obvious that she couldn't win her original congressional district, the 3rd. A carpetbagger indeed. Boebert is campaigning for the worst Republican congressman in the history of our country, Thomas Massie, of the great Commonwealth of Kentucky. And anybody who can be that dumb deserves a good primary fight. Even though I long ago endorsed Boebert, if the right person came along, it would be my honor to withdraw that endorsement and endorse a good, proper alternative. Just let me know or announce your candidacy. I will be there for you, President Donald J. Trump. And as we've seen with the Trump endorsements, that would create a bit of an issue for Lauren Boebert, I would imagine. She might be able to still win. And I also like Lauren Boebert. I do. I think that Lauren Boebert is honest. I think that she is non-compromised. And I'm open to being wrong, but I think that she's just sticking up for one of her friends in Congress, in Thomas Massie. Whether you like Thomas Massie or side, I actually do respect that a lot. I do. I think that she knew she was going to get a lot of heat from campaigning for Massie, and she did it anyway because that's her guy. And I think that that's admirable because she did get a lot of heat. This was Boebert over the weekend.
It's really important that Lauren Boebert is here because they're trying to tell you that you can't support the president and vote for Thomas Massie. They're trying to divide everybody. And Lauren is here to show you that is not true. There's no bigger supporter of President Trump than Lauren Boebert, but she is here supporting me as well. And when your neighbors say, well, I support the president, I don't know if I could vote for Massie, let them know they can do both.
Yes.
I mean, I think that that's true. I do. We'll get to Massie in a second. But I like Boebert. And I think that she has been principled for a long time. I think that she stands up for what she believes in. I mean, flashback to 2023, she was getting into it with Sean Hannity because Sean Hannity wanted her to support Kevin McCarthy. And I don't know if you've been keeping score at home, but we're actually doing a bit better with Speaker Mike Johnson in there than I think we could have been with Kevin McCarthy. And Lauren Boebert wasn't backing down when it came to Kevin McCarthy.
Tonight's motion to adjourn that Kevin McCarthy and his supporters are already getting voter fatigue. And
I asked you a simple question, Congresswoman. I feel like I'm getting a liberal
I'm not going
an
to
answer
support
from a
Kevin
liberal.
McCarthy, Sean.
Okay, so even if you only have 30 votes,
Kevin McCarthy.
You will not
If
abide
I'm the
by
last
what you
person
told President
standing,
Trump
which
to
I
abide
don't believe
by.
I
got
will
it.
be.
I feel like we've made
will
progress.
Look, I love President Trump. You're not going to turn me on him. You're not going to pit him against me.
Not trying to
love
pit him
I love
against you.
President
That's what you
Trump,
said to him.
And I am standing. I have
You're the
seen
one
the
that said
broken
it to him.
trust. I have seen the lack of accountability. Well, we are getting phone calls saying that we need to stop this. Kevin does not have the votes for Speaker. Period. We need to find a consensus candidate, get this right, and get our country back on track. Thanks so much, Sean.
Listen, I do. I think Lauren Boebert is principled, and I think she's going to stand up for what she believes in. Whether you agree or disagree with that, I do think it's respectable. Thomas Massie, though, on the flip side of the coin, I'm not a huge fan. And I think that he's really grabbing at the Israel stuff because he sees a surge online, and he's smart enough to realize that that's going to help him, which that's fine. I think there's a lot of truth in what he says about AIPAC and about the Israel influence in our government as one government to another. And I don't think it's very America first to be letting Israel influence our politics to the level that it does. I don't think that we have many other allies that do that. So I think there's a lot of truth in what he says, but I think he's saying it for political reasons. He's now saying that his election will decide whether or not Israel can pay off and buy politicians and future American politicians. This was Thomas Massie over the weekend.
It's turned into whether Israel gets to buy seats in Congress. And what they found out is that my seats are really expensive. They probably, when this is over, will have spent $20 million and come up short.
So why is Israel the only country that gets to buy elections in the United States? Or does any other country get to? Is this
I've never seen Great Britain or Australia or even Germany play in our elections here in the United States. But Israel gets so much from the United States. It's a one-sided relationship. They get us to be their proxies in wars that they want against their enemies. They get our military assistance. They get our technology. They get our bombs. They get our tax dollars. And I think it's a very one-sided relationship. At least with NATO, we pretend that they would come to our aid someday if we needed it. And even that's a ruse.
Again, I think there's some truth in that. I think Thomas Massie is using it for political reasons because he never said this stuff before it was everywhere online. Like, once again, he just doesn't. I think that this is a political calculation by Thomas Massie, and he said it over the weekend on ABC as well with George Slobodanopoulos.
Well, the RJC, AIPAC, and Miriam Adelson and Paul Singer, they're all part of the Israeli lobby, and that's where all the money comes from. And it will be a referendum on foreign policy, whether Israel gets to dictate that by, bullying members of Congress. And I'm the one they haven't been able to bully, so they're putting all the brunt and the force on me. But you can tell that I'm ahead in the polls and they're desperate. That's why they're sending the Secretary of War to my district tomorrow. That's why the president's losing sleep and tweeting about this. That's why AIPAC has dumped another $3 million into my race this weekend. It's because they're panicked and they really haven't been able to gain a lead in this race.
You say the president is desperate, but he's got a pretty good record of defeating people he wants to target in Republican primaries. We saw Bill Cassidy yesterday. We saw what happened in Indiana. How are you going to be able to overcome the president's opposition?
Well, I have the endorsement of the Right to Life organizations, the gun organizations. I had 4 members of Congress come here yesterday and campaign with me. So my situation is a little bit different. Plus, I've had millions of dollars come in from the grassroots, tens of thousands of donors to my website, thomasmassie.com, and it's still coming in, and that's how we're going to beat them.
So again, listen, I think there's a lot of truth in what Thomas Massie says. I just think that he is picking now to say it because it's politically beneficial to him. He never said any of this stuff back in the day. He was never a truth fighter for the Epstein victims. He never brought up the Israel lobby. He never brought up AIPAC. And while there is truth in what he says, I fully believe that this guy is a chameleon and he's going to say whatever he needs to say to win his election. Because I think it's important to point out that back in 2024, he didn't say any of this stuff. None of it. During the 2024 election, Thomas Massie was more focused on the Trump prosecutions, and I didn't hear him talking about AIPAC. I didn't hear him talking about the Israel lobby. I didn't hear him talking about Israel's influence in our elections. He was more anti-Trump. He wasn't talking about Epstein. Again, I think a lot of this is true that what he's saying. I do. But I just think that he's saying it because it's politically relevant and politically viable. This was Thomas Massie in the lead up to the 2024 election.
First of all, the main thing I hear from people back home is they're mad that nobody's held accountable in Washington, D.C. Well, I think we need to hold Trump accountable. He didn't build the wall. He didn't get Mexico to pay for it. He ran up $7.8 trillion of debt. He fumbled the repeal of Obamacare. There's so many missed promises. He gave a commendation, an award to Dr. Fauci after he shut down our country and hasn't held anybody at the FDA or the CDC responsible. So, let's hold that guy accountable. Contrast, people have rallied to Trump's defense because he's been indicted 4 times. And, I feel compelled to rally to his defense because that's an attack on all of us. But here's the problem. This summer, they're going to be litigating these cases in the court, and these indictments are going to ripen into convictions. And we're going to be talking about the finer points of whether you can pay a porn star with your campaign money or whether you should write it off as a business expense. I mean, the lawsuit itself is ridiculous, but the underlying facts aren't disputed. And I think people are going to kind of recoil from that when all that stuff starts coming out this summer. And the polls that show him beating Biden, those are going to switch very quickly.
Aged like milk. Here's the thing. Thomas Massie doesn't say anything when the Democrats are in power. We didn't hear a peep out of him while Biden was in office about the AIPAC lobby or about Israel or about Epstein. We only hear this when Donald Trump is in office. So I think he's a terrible conservative. I don't think he's a good Republican. I don't think he's the ally that we think he is. That doesn't mean that what he's saying isn't true when it comes to AIPAC. When it comes to that not being America first. I just don't think he's saying it because he wants to do anything other than win his election. I think that's really what it boils down to. I think that Trump has reasons why he doesn't like Massie, and he hasn't liked Massie for a long time. And Massie's going to use that and say it's because of the AIPAC lobby, and he's going to sprinkle in a lot of truth. But I think a lot of this is personal for Thomas Massie. Donald Trump, just moments ago, the worst congressman in the long and storied history of the Republican Party is Thomas Massie. He's an obstructionist and a fool. Vote him out of office tomorrow, Tuesday. It will be a great day for America, President DJT. It will be interesting to see what happens in this primary. It absolutely is going to show how much power the Israel lobby has or does not have, how much power the internet has or does not have, and really, where does that balance of power lie? Is there more power in Fox News, or is there more power on X? I think that's going to be fascinating to watch. I mean, I don't know what happens. I'm kind of cool with whatever happens. I don't think Thomas Massie's the worst human being in history at all. I think that he does things that are politically viable for him when they're politically viable for him. Again, how long has he been in Congress? How many years has he had to speak out against Israel in the AIPAC lobby? But he didn't say a damn thing until the conversation became popular online. Okay. Same goes for Epstein. He had years to speak out about Epstein victims while Donald Trump's DOJ was locking Epstein up. He didn't say anything, but he'll say it now. Some people are framing this as Donald Trump is going after everybody that wanted accountability for the Epstein files. I don't necessarily see that. I'm open to being wrong. It could be true. I do think it's more due to the personal beef between him and Massie. But he's targeted quite a few people. Thomas Massie, MTG, Lauren Boebert now. Has he gone after Nancy Mace? I don't think he's gone after Nancy Mace, and she's been pretty open about wanting accountability for Epstein victims and some people getting silver bracelets. So I think that kind of blows a hole in that story there, that narrative. But, I'm open to being wrong. It's 9:52. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We finally kicked on the AC over the weekend. Did you do the exact same thing? When you kicked yours on, was it working as well as it needed to be? Well, if your home's not as comfortable as it should be right now, it is definitely time to call Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Honestly, they got some strong offers going on. This could be the best time to call them. Right now, you can get special financing on a new HVAC system with up to 12 months, no payments, no interest. It'll give you some breathing room. And here's the bonus. If you install a high-efficiency system, 17 SEER or higher, they'll throw in a free Yeti Tundra 45 cooler. Not a bad deal at all. And if you're more focused on air quality, your AC's working great, well, check out the Healthy Hive package. It includes an electronic air cleaner and a whole home UV system. Normally, this is going to run you about $2,800. Today, you can get it installed for $22.99. And then they'll handle the TVA rebates for you, so you save more money on top, and you won't have to fill out any of the paperwork. We're talking about $800 back on mini splits, $500 to $800 on heat pumps, even $50 back on AC tune-ups. So that could save you some money if you did kick it on over the weekend. You're like, nah, this isn't working at peak efficiency. Well, you can get it tuned up and get some money back. And if you got plumbing issues, they got deals there too. $300 off whole home drain repipes, $500 off water distribution repipes. So whether it's heating, cooling, plumbing, Busy Bee's got you covered. 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, BusyBeeHVAC.com.
Coming up at the top of the hour, the judge overseeing Luigi Mangioni's murder case in the killing of the United Healthcare CEO. He, at this very moment, is about to issue a critical ruling in that case. Also, Metro Police, they've arrested a couple of guys accused of stealing thousands of dollars in scams involving payment apps. We'll have that again coming up here shortly on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
9:58, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. I'm getting some Van Gogh listening. Somebody said, are you lying about Massie, or are you just collecting that $7,000? You have become a joke now. Thought you were better. Be better. Stop lying, 7,000. You know what that's in reference to, right? There was a conversation online that anybody that was saying anything positive about Israel was getting $7,000 per social media post. So they're accusing me of getting $7,000 for saying this. No, not bought and paid for by Israel. In fact, if you were listening, I literally said, I think Israel has too much influence in our government. I think we give Israel too much money. I think that the AIPAC lobby should be registered as foreign agents. I also think that Thomas Massie is glomming onto these talking points because they're everywhere on the internet. I think it is politically viable for him to do so. And I think he wants to win his election. I think both things can be true. I'm open to being wrong, which I said. So you tell me how that makes me get $7,000. AIPAC has too much money. Give me my money. Oh, okay. I think Thomas Massie's just grabbing onto whatever the internet's talking about. Is that fair? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he is the most principled America First candidate we've ever had. Maybe. Or maybe he's just good at reading the tea leaves. I could be wrong. I could be right. It's just my opinion. You're welcome to call in with yours, 615-737-9986. It's 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 10 a.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. A full weather forecast coming up. Quickly, though, we do have a traffic report here. 65 northbound at the June Lake Boulevard exit. A multi-vehicle crash there has traffic backed up quite a bit on 65. Again, that's 65 northbound at the June Lake Boulevard exit. The judge overseeing Luigi Mangioni's murder case in the killing of the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson. He's at this moment talking about a critical ruling on what evidence and testimony prosecutors can use during the accused assassin's his state trial. ABC's Peter Haralambous, he is there, and he has the story.
Judge Gregory Caro is considering Mangioni's request to prohibit prosecutors from using the evidence that police seized from Mangioni's backpack when he was apprehended 5 days after the shooting, including the alleged murder weapon and writings that prosecutors say amount to a confession. Mangioni's lawyers have argued that police violated his rights by searching that backpack without immediately obtaining a search warrant. Mangioni's state murder trial is scheduled to begin in September.
So has any stranger ever come up to you and said, hey, can I use your phone? Well, if that's the case, hey, listen to this. Metro Police, they have arrested two guys that are accused of stealing thousands of dollars from victims involving scams that where they use payment apps. Experts recently told a News 2 reporter these scams occur when someone approaches you in public. They need to use your cell phone for a number of reasons. Once you hand over their phone, though, they quickly open those payment apps like Venmo or Zelle and send themselves money. According to Metro Nashville Police, this past Saturday, Dwayne Gordon, who's 19 years of age, and two other guys, they approached a woman, said they were looking for candy donations. They didn't take cash. They asked for a woman's cell phone, and the guy sent himself $840 from her bank account. Well, he's in the Metro jail now. His bond is set at $85,000, but get this, he was out on bond for an incident involving credit card fraud, $10,000 bond, and he was still out there pulling this kind of stuff. Another guy, Lakeel Horton, 19, he was arrested Saturday. He was one of Gordon's pals. They scammed a Mississippi tourist at the time of his arrest. He was free on a $1,000 bond from charges stemming from a similar scam. This guy allegedly asked for the victim's phone. He wanted to make a candy donation, but he stole $1,000 from him. Don't hand your phone to strangers. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Six minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You're welcome to join the show any way you'd like. 615-737-9986. You can also jump in the chat on YouTube and Rumble. Call or text, do your thing. Open to conversations. We were talking about Thomas Massie a little while ago. Got a bunch of text messages. And I think Massie is just jumping at low-hanging fruit from the internet. I do. And you can argue with me, and I'm open to being wrong. I think that's one of the things that you'll always find. I'm not the guy that is going to tell you I'm right 100% of the time. I'm just looking at this situation. I'm wondering why is he just now speaking out about AIPAC? There's been a lot of people that have been speaking out about it for a lot longer. And I would even say, going back further, one of my first shows that I ever did here, I said, I don't think we should be sending money to Israel. I don't. That was, 2023? So, I mean, I'm aware of the influence that the Israel lobby has over America. I'm aware of the amount of money that is coming into our elections. But in 2024, in the lead up to the presidential campaign, Massie was thinking that Biden was going to win and was downright gleeful. And now he's talking about AIPAC. Why wasn't he talking about AIPAC then? I think it's opportunistic. I'm not saying what he's saying is wrong. I'm just thinking I'm not sure about his motives in saying it. I think he wants to win the election. But, hey, you got to do what you got to do. You're welcome to join the conversation, 615-737-9986. I know a lot of this is spurned on by the Iran war and how unpopular that is with millennials and Gen Z voters. It seems to still be very, very popular with the older Republicans. It seems the older you get, the more likely you are to support the Iran conflict. Meanwhile, it is very, very unpopular for a lot of Americans as we continue to see $4 gas, and it doesn't look like it's going to be stopping anytime soon. And just over the weekend, Iran launched a drone attack on the United Arab Emirates. Everybody's under the impression that the ceasefire is essentially dead and that we are going to be in full conflict here in a matter of, it could be hours, days. I don't think it's going to be weeks. Donald Trump on True Social over the weekend saying for Iran, the clock is ticking and they better get moving fast or there won't be anything left of them. Time is of the essence. President DJT. I just want to get through it. I think that at this point, the only way to get past it is to go through it. We can argue about whether or not we should have been in there, whether we should have entered the conflict. I think that those are good arguments to have, but where we stand right now for the country, we have to get through it. We also learned, again, that Iran is still lashing out at its neighbors.
Yeah, Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yinks is live in Tel Aviv. I'm sure he's got more for us. Trey?
Yeah, guys, good morning. We do start with some breaking news out of the UAE, where officials say that a drone attack against a nuclear power plant caused a fire at a generator on the outskirts of the facility. This is a significant attack and likely conducted by the Iranian regime. It comes as tension continues to rise across the Middle East as the region waits to see if the war will resume in the days ahead. So far, efforts toward a diplomatic solution with Iran have been unsuccessful, with officials in Tehran unwilling to make the necessary concessions to reach a deal. President Trump spoke on his return flight from China, indicating he didn't like the first sentence of the Iranian response to the U.S. peace proposal.
I looked at it, and if I don't like the first sentence, I just throw it away. What was the first sentence? An unacceptable sentence.
Yeah, Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yinks is live.
So that's the latest that we have, and we do have a True Social post from President Trump this morning. If Iran surrenders, admits their Navy is gone and resting at the bottom of the sea and their Air Force is no longer with us, and if their entire military walks out of Tehran, weapons dropped, hands held high, and shouting, I surrender, while wildly waving their representative white flag, and if their entire remaining leadership signs all necessary documents of surrender and admits their defeat to the great power and force of the magnificent USA, the failing New York Times, the China Street Journal, Wall Street Journal, corrupt and now irrelevant CNN, and all other members of the fake news will headline that Iran had a masterful and brilliant victory over the United States of America. It wasn't even close. The Democrats and media have totally lost their way. They have gone absolutely crazy. President DJT. Doesn't look like we're getting out of this anytime soon. I mean, for all intents and purposes. And it looks like this thing could stretch on quite a while longer. This is more from President Trump speaking with Netanyahu in the earlier this weekend from the White House, and he dropped a post saying the calm before the storm.
Reportedly are weighing whether to restart military action against Iran. Mr. Trump calling this moment the calm before the storm. Fox Business correspondent Ashley Webster reports live from Tel Aviv. Ashley.
Yeah, hey there, John. I think it's true to say that the air of expectancy has been cranked up a couple of notches here in Israel today. As you mentioned, President Trump talking with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu earlier this evening. They reportedly talked for about 30 minutes, and then shortly after that, President Trump taking to social media to tell Iran that, yep, time is running out. Time is of the essence, he said. But with a stalemate still in place, Netanyahu holding a security cabinet meeting tonight with top military leaders and advisors to discuss the next move. All of this coming as reports claim the U.S. and Israel are making intense preparations for renewed attacks against Iran. The Iranian foreign minister, meantime, says another attack makes no sense if the U.S. and Israeli military have already, as they claim, destroyed the country's nuclear facilities. Listen to this.
These contradictory statements truly indicate the depth of America's confusion regarding their objectives in this war.
So Iranian state TV also has been showing video today of government supporters, some receiving defense trading inside of mosques, weapons and all.
So that's kind of the latest. We also heard earlier this morning from Trey Yingst that Iran is now entering a fuel crisis because of the blockade that's happening. We know that they've run out of storage for their oil, which means that they have to stop pumping, which is going to create massive headaches moving forward because they'll never be able to get back to that full strength on pumping once they stop that. Trey Yingst earlier this morning talking about the fuel crisis going on in Iran.
Hey guys, good morning. The Middle East remains on edge, waiting to see if the war will resume in the days ahead. Overnight, President Trump taking to Truth Social with a new warning for the regime. He said for Iran, the clock is ticking and they better get moving fast or there won't be anything left of them. Time is of the essence. The president's post comes as reports indicate the Iranians have submitted a revised proposal to Pakistani mediators aimed at addressing some of the gaps in their previous response that President Trump described as a piece of garbage.
Therefore, from the very day after we sent our points to the American side via Pakistan, we were faced with a series of proposals from the other side, which have been reviewed over the past few days. As was announced yesterday, our own views have in turn been conveyed to the American side.
While diplomatic efforts play out, the economic situation in Iran is getting worse each day due to the ongoing U.S. blockade of Iranian ports. CENTCOM says more than 80 commercial vessels have been redirected and 4 were disabled to enforce the blockade. A senior Israeli official told Fox News that early signs are developing of a fuel crisis in Iran, with long lines at gas stations being observed. It's getting exponentially worse, the official added.
The economic situation is very, very bad. I mean, for 3 months now, the situation has completely deteriorated. Ever since these protests happened and the dollar price went up. Then, after the war started, the shop was basically closed for nearly a month. And now the situation is extremely bad.
I mean, we've also heard reports that members of the military aren't getting paid in Iran and that they're leaving. I mean, does that influence the Iranian, the IRGC to make a deal? I don't necessarily think so. I don't think that they really care about their people whatsoever. Senator Rick Scott says that President Trump just leaning in on the fact that we can't let them have a nuclear weapon and that he thinks that Trump is going to have to go in and bomb the living daylights out of them.
You know, President Trump is busting his butt. Does he want the Strait of Hormuz closed? No. But is one who's killed by a nuclear weapon? Absolutely not. So he's doing the right thing by making sure we all don't get killed by a nuclear weapon. On top of that, with China, President's doing the right thing, talking to him, but she's a liar. She's never going to help us with anything. He's killing our kids with fentanyl. He's stealing all of our technology, spying on us. So hope springs eternal. But ultimately, what I think has to happen here, Trump is going to have to go in and bomb the living daylights out of Iran to hopefully finally get a regime that wants to work with him and stop this death to America, death to everybody in the Middle East attitude. So it's a tough time. And Biden left him with a horrible situation in Iran and economy, and Trump is busting his butt to fix it.
I mean, it's kind of where we're at. I don't necessarily think that Iran was going to be able to hit America with a nuclear weapon. I think some of this just feels like talking points, neocon talking points. But we're here now, and we have to get through it, and it's a massive headache. I mean, there's no way around it. This is super unpopular. I don't think a lot of people want to be in this position. Even if you think that Iran is an evil regime, you're looking at the gas prices now, and you're going, was this the right move? Let me know where you're at. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. I just think that we need to get through it as quickly as possible. I don't know how you do it. I don't. I mean, outside of nuking Iran, which I'm sure a lot of the audience would be like, yeah, let's just nuke them. How do you end it? your guess is as good as mine. It does feel like this is going to drag on for a long time. It just does. And I've talked to people behind the scenes, and they're like, it's at least going to take a year. At least. The longer it goes on, the more ammo people are going to have against President Trump, the more people are going to feel like this is a turning into another forever war, which you did campaign against. I mean, you can make the argument it's not a forever war yet. We're only in week 11. But you can also make the argument that you told us 4 to 6 weeks. And we're in week 11. Gas prices are at $4 a gallon. This is not the affordability that you promised the American people. It's a tough situation to be in. And it's one of those things where we could have avoided it altogether, I think. And I just go back to the fact that if it was Kamala Harris leading and she was doing a lot of this same stuff, promising 4 to 6 weeks, and we're in week 11, conservatives would be losing their mind. If it was Kamala Harris who originally bombed Natanz and said we set them back years and years and years, the nuclear program has been completely obliterated, and now the talking points are we can't get hit with a nuclear weapon, conservatives would be losing their mind. That's just kind of where we're at. Very unpopular. And this is going to be something that Donald Trump is going to have to deal with. And I think the longer it goes on, the greater chances of this tarnishing his legacy. I don't know if he's worried about tarnishing his legacy, but I know that's absolutely within the realm of possibility the more and the longer that this conflict goes on. And he keeps posting on Truth Social. He posted over the weekend that the mullahs are surrounded 100% in all directions. The walls are closing in. And it's just like, are they, though? Are they? Your guess is as good as mine. 615-737-9986. On the way, we're going to talk about something a little bit more positive than the current Iranian war. We'll talk about the rededication 250 ceremony that happened inside Washington, D.C. We got a lot of problems in this country, make no mistake about it. But I think that one of the ways that we need to get back to being on the right track is once again reestablishing that this is a Christian nation and a nation for Christians. And I think that what they did over the weekend at the National Mall in D.C. was absolutely fantastic. You had a lot of members of the Trump administration making declarations of faith, and I think that's a very, very positive sign. We also got some weird news out of Cuba. Axios reporting that we could have a drone threat coming from Cuba. And many people are rolling their eyes, feeling like, is this more propaganda just before we go in and take Cuba? We'll talk about that on the way as well. It's 10:20. Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville, and I'm fired up about the new stuff that they got going on there, and I'm putting my seal of approval on it. Dr. Mitchell has built an insane new device called Medical Bay 1. It's like climbing into a healing spaceship. Full-body lasers, red light, near-infrared stem cell simulation, and photon healing that will wake up your cells for real healing the way God intended. You're going to get massaged while it regenerates tissue. It feels futuristic, and it works. They also lead the game in non-surgical and spinal decompression with real relief without surgery, without painful injections, and without opioids. Right now, you can grab the Epic Spinal Special, which is $33 off every single visit. Epic healing from an epic office at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Head over to painisbad.com right now, painisbad.com, or pick up the phone and call Dr. Mitch directly, 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009. Launch your pain-free voyage today with the Wellness Institute of Nashville, painisbad.com.
President Trump making more demands on Iran. We'll have the latest. And the judge in the Luigi Mangione trial, he does make an evidence ruling this morning. And also, there's a new strain of Ebola virus out there, and it's raising some concerns. We'll have all that at the bottom of the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
1025, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Headlines on the way with Jay Harper in less than 5 minutes. I feel like we've been waiting for the Cuba shoe to drop. We've had statements from multiple administration officials, including Marco Rubio, that sound like this.
It's a difficult thing to manage, but it's only 4 months in, and I think we should be pleased. Venezuela is a better place today than it was 4 months ago, but it needs to continue to stay on that path. In the case of Cuba, it's a very different situation. There is no economy in Cuba. To the extent there's any wealth in Cuba, it doesn't go to the people, it doesn't even go to the government. The wealth is controlled by a company owned by military generals. They take all the money. They're sitting on billions of dollars. Okay, this is a country where people are literally now eating garbage from the streets, but they have a company that controls all of the money making there that's sitting on $16 billion. So it's a broken, non-functional economy, and it's impossible to change it. I wish it were different. But I believe, it's my personal opinion, you cannot change the economic trajectory of Cuba as long as the people who are in charge of it now are in charge of it. That's what's going to have to change, because these people are proven incapable. I hope I'm wrong. We'll give them a chance. But I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think we're going to be able to change the trajectory of Cuba as long as these people are in charge in that regime.
So there's been a lot of talk from the administration for a long time about going into Cuba, removing leadership from Cuba, taking Cuba out, and it feels like we're getting closer and closer to that breaking point. There was a news story that came out in Axios over the weekend, and I read it, and I'll be honest with you, it just felt like a little bit like propaganda. It felt like it was laying the groundwork for a Cuban operation that I'm not sure at this point, with the Iran operation going on, the American people will be willing to stomach. I don't think it would be difficult a la Iran. I think it would far more resemble Venezuela. But Axios dropped a story yesterday. Excuse me. I almost said this morning. Yesterday, they dropped a story that said that Cuba is eyeing an attack drone threat. The U.S. is eyeing an attack drone threat from Cuba. This is how Fox News reported it.
It's reportedly on alert for a potential Cuban drone attack threat. Axios writing, quote, Cuba has acquired more than 300 military drones and recently began discussing plans to use them to attack the U.S. base at Guantanamo Bay, U.S. military vessels, and possibly Key West. But Cuba's foreign minister is denying the claims, writing, without any legitimate excuse whatsoever, the U.S. government builds day after day a fundamental case to justify the ruthless economic war against the Cuban people. Cuba neither threatens nor desires war. This comes as sources tell Fox that the U.S. is preparing to indict former Cuban leader Raul Castro.
I don't know if Cuba has drones. I don't know if Cuba's planning attacks on America. I think Cuba has bigger fish to fry than attacking America. Since we took over Venezuela, there's no more oil going into Cuba that the Cuban regime is then siphoning away from the people and then using to sell to other nations. But this is what we're hearing. They say the intelligence, which could become a pretext for U.S. military action, shows the degree to which the Trump administration sees Cuba as a threat because of developments in drone warfare and the presence of Iranian military advisors in Havana, a senior U.S. official said. When we think about those types of technologies being that close and a range of bad actors from terror groups to drug cartels to Iranians to the Russians, it's concerning, the official said. It's a growing threat. This comes after CIA Director John Ratcliffe traveled to Cuba last week. It was Thursday, and he warned officials there against engaging in hostilities. He also urged them to scrap their totalitarian government to end crippling U.S. sanctions, a CIA official told Axios, saying Director Ratcliffe made clear that Cuba can no longer serve as a platform for adversaries to advance hostile agendas in our hemisphere. The Western Hemisphere cannot be our adversaries' playground. On Wednesday, the Department of Justice plans to unseal an indictment of Cuba's de facto leader, Raul Castro, for allegedly ordering the 1996 downing of two planes flown by a Miami-based group called Brothers to the Rescue. They say more sanctions targeting the island could be announced this week. And Cuba has been acquiring attack drones of varying capabilities from Russia and Iran since 2023, stashing them in strategic locations across the island, U.S. officials say. Within the past month, Cuban officials have sought more drones and military equipment from Russia, the senior U.S. official said. The official cited intelligence intercepts that also indicated Cuban intelligence officials are trying to learn about how Iran has resisted us. Russia and China have high-tech espionage facilities for collecting signals intelligence in Cuba, and we've been concerned that a foreign adversary using that kind of location close to our shores is problematic, says Defense Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to Rep. Mario Diaz-Balart, a Miami Republican, during a congressional hearing on Tuesday. We'll see what happens in Cuba. It does feel like Cuba is next, and this does feel like a pretext to do just that. 10:30, it's Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
It is 10:30, and I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We'll get to your weather forecast here momentarily. President Trump says he wants Iran to completely stop enriching uranium for at least 20 years. Iran is rejecting that demand, surprise, surprise, saying uranium enrichment is protected by international law and cannot be negotiated. ABC's Karen Travers reports.
The president posted over the weekend, the clock is ticking and Iran better get moving fast or there won't be anything left of them. And he ends it by saying time is of the essence. But there is no specific time frame from the president on when he wants to see something from Iran. There's no deadline that he has put on this. And that's a big question right now. It's notable over the last several weeks since this ceasefire has been extended that we haven't seen deadlines put in place by the president for Iran to take some action, come back to the negotiating table, or make a deal.
This morning, a judge in New York, he did grant some evidence would be permissible in the trial of Luigi Mangione. Mangione is facing murder and other charges in the death of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. The judge allowed a weapon and a notebook to be admissible, but other items found in his backpack were not permitted. ABC's Brian Buckmeyer says the discrepancy has to do with how police searched Mangione's possessions and where.
The judge is saying an inventory search, when law enforcement brings you to the station house or to the precinct and they're looking through your bag to do an inventory and they're taking photos, that was done properly. That doesn't require a warrant because it's one of those exceptions as well. We want to kind of make sure when people get arrested, they don't have bombs or guns inside of their belongings when they are getting processed. So things like the gun or the notebook or the photographs of the notebook, those are all coming in because those are a proper search procedure.
Congo now says it will open a treatment center for the Ebola virus to deal with the outbreak in the eastern part of that country. ABC's Tom Sufi-Burridge has more.
We're talking about an outbreak in an eastern region of the Democratic Republic of Congo, near to the border with Uganda, in a pretty remote area which has been conflict-ridden for years. There's a lot of cross-border activity around those areas, so contact tracing, that makes it pretty hard to contact trace potentially. And there is no vaccine for this particular strain of Ebola.
That is the latest news. We've got weather next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
1037 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. You can find the show anywhere. We're on all the apps, the FM dial. We're on Super Talk TV, which is on YouTube and Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with your friends. We appreciate you doing so, and thank you for listening. However you may be listening, you're welcome to join the show as well anytime you would like. 615-737-9986. I was texting with a guy who doesn't believe that America was a Christian nation. And I copy and pasted a thing from a Charlie Kirk article because there's a video that had gone around that, and this really goes back to the Rededicate 250 event, which I'm going to bring you some of the audio from on the way. There's a video that went around, and I remember playing it for you before, but it's worth playing again. How was America founded as a Christian nation? And Charlie, I mean, he was the best. He just crushed everything he touched. He was a madman. I loved it. And he had this to say about how our country was founded as a Christian nation.
Our country was founded on common law because the Declaration only refers to God 4 times, and the Constitution doesn't refer to God at all, and it only articulates the structure of government.
So first of all, remember that we were a collection of states and colonies, and you need to read the state constitutions before anything else. 13 on 13 required a declaration of faith. In almost every single one of the original state constitutions, they had, I profess Lord and Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. Secondly, 55 out of 56 of the original signers of the Declaration were Bible-believing, church-attending Christians. You asked about common law. Well, let's go to 3 principles of common law: presumption of innocence, due process, and jury of your peers. All 3 are biblical principles. So, and all wrapped into the ultimate biblical principle that you shall not favor justice if you are rich or poor, which is in Leviticus 19, which is the idea of blind justice, which is incorporated also in the New Testament ideal. Neither slave nor Greek nor Jew, you're all one in Jesus Christ, which is the idea of human equality. These are all biblical ideas, but more importantly than that, they say that God was only mentioned 4 times in the Declaration of Independence. Well, that's a big deal. John Adams famously said the Constitution was only written for a moral and religious people. It was wholly inadequate for the people of any other. The body politic of America was so Christian that our form and structure of government was built for the people that believed in Christ our Lord. One of the reasons we're living through a constitutional crisis is that we no longer have a Christian nation, but we have a Christian form of government, and they're incompatible. So you cannot have liberty if you do not have a Christian population.
Amen. And he did that in just a couple minutes. Just an absolute madman with the weaponized autism of 1,000 men. And we salute him for it. But over the weekend, we had thousands of Christians flooding the D.C. National Mall to rededicate America to faith. And I thought this was a big story. I think we got a lot of issues in this country, and I think one of the ways that we need to get back is we need to get back to our roots as a Christian nation. And so seeing thousands of Christians on the National Mall during this event, the Rededicate 250, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. It gives you a lot of hope as a Christian that we could return to these roots.
We're back live from the National Mall at the Rededicate 250 event, where thousands are gathering for a day of prayer and faith. For more, let's bring in the Gen Z faith influencer, Anthony Gross. Anthony, you're everywhere now. What is your hope for this event? For people watching this event, what do you want them to take away?
I think hope.
Hope. That was my big takeaway from the event. And I love that people aren't backing away from their faith anymore. Dr. Robert Jeffries said, you want to call me a Christian nationalist? I actually like the label.
Years ago today, it would be a day, our forefathers said, when we would call on God. It would be a day that we would repent of our sins. It was a day that we would boldly ask God to give us victory over our enemies. As my friend Gary Bauer notes, these leaders who loved our country and loved our God would be called Christian nationalists today. And it is a title they would have gladly embraced. By the way, if being a Christian nationalist means loving Jesus Christ and loving America, count me in.
Yep. I mean, this isn't the insult you think it is. I don't know if you knew that. Calling me a Christian nationalist, good, actually. I think that the country would be far better off if we were a Christian nation. and we had more public displays of our Christian faith, and we took it with us outside the walls of the church. I think one of the reasons why this country has gotten off track is because of the weakness of the American church, the more willingness to talk about scripture and politics 2,000 years ago, but never apply it to what we're seeing today. And I think today we see a lot of evil. I think that when you look at the abortion on demand industry, when you look at the transing of kids, when you look at the toxic empathy, it all goes back to the fact that we've lost a lot of what made us great from the jump. But over the course of this Rededicate 250 event, we had many members of the Trump administration jumping in and publicly once again displaying their faith. Now, I had seen this at Charlie's Memorial when we went in Arizona, my wife and I remember it happening then and being like, this is pretty incredible that you have all of these members of the Trump administration on a massive platform saying the name of Jesus and honoring the name of Jesus. Then it kind of, time goes on and all things fade, and we've gotten further away from the assassination of Charlie, and we felt like there was a reinvigorating of faith, a bit of a renaissance, if you will, a rebirth, and then it just kind of it's felt like it's slowed since then. But yesterday we had every single member of the administration once again publicly declaring that Jesus Christ is their Lord and Savior. And I want to bring you some of that because I do think it's important, and I'm not sure how much attention this got, but I think it needed a lot of attention. This was Secretary of War Pete Hegseth.
One hangs in my office. Kneeling in the deep snow, his hat and sword nearby. Washington bows his head. Amid all the bleak nights, the loss and despair, the lack of proper support, George Washington performed a profound act. He prayed. And on this day of Rededicate 250, let us follow George Washington's example. Let us pray as he did. Let us pray without ceasing. Let us pray for our nation on bended knee. And let us ask our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, as Washington did on that momentous day, so help us God.
That was Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. It wasn't just him. Rubio was also in attendance. Rubio, at the Charlie Kirk Memorial, I thought he had one of the more powerful speeches. And his faith, you can feel it when he speaks.
On this day, 2.5 centuries ago, our forefathers gathered for the second time in as many years for a national day of fasting and prayer. The resolution of the Continental Congress called on the 13 colonies to humble themselves in preparation for the coming war, with true penitence of heart and the most reverent devotion publicly to acknowledge the overruling providence of God. In 3.5 months' time, the colonists would be in open revolt against the most powerful empire in the history of the world. Many, on both sides of the Atlantic, thought their cause was a suicide mission. The founders were not naive men. They knew their lives were on the line. That was the premise of Benjamin Franklin's dark joke after signing the Declaration of Independence, where he said, "We must indeed all hang together, or most assuredly, we shall all hang separately." They had no guarantees of victory. They knew that what they were trying to do had never been done before in human history. But with the dark storm clouds of war looming on the horizon, they did what Christians have always done, across place and time for 2,000 years. They turned their eyes to heaven and placed their fate in the hands of God. It is no coincidence that America, from the very beginning, has occupied a unique and exceptional place in world history. Before the Christian West, most societies, and civilizations for that matter, thought in stagnant cycles: the flooding of the Nile, the return of the rains, the cycle of the harvest. History, for them, was a wheel to nowhere. It turned and turned only to end up back where it began. But our faith calls us outwards into the limitless darkness of the unknown. It tells us to go forth and preach the gospel to the world as a witness unto all nations, unto the ends of the earth.
And it's that foundation that I do believe created the greatest nation in the history of the world. With all the blemishes And all the beauty marks that we have suffered along the way, we have still created something truly unique. And it is because of the faith that we have in God and in Jesus Christ. J.D. Vance also putting his faith on the stage there, as Rubio did and as Secretary of War Pete Hegseth did. And I love the fact that we have all of these members of the administration during this event proclaiming Jesus's name.
Declared in 1789 that it is the duty of all nations to acknowledge the providence of Almighty God, to obey his will, to be grateful for his benefits, and humbly to implore his protection and favor. These were the opening lines of America's first ever Thanksgiving proclamation. But whatever milestone it represented in the brief life of our young republic, the duty Washington described to honor, obey, and give thanks to our Creator was woven into America's character long before the founding. A keen awareness of that duty has stretched all the way back from William Bradford's own Pilgrim Proclamation in 1623 to the opening prayer of our First Continental Congress, to Lincoln's call for national Thanksgiving in the midst of the Civil War, to this very gathering today.
He's absolutely right. Trump also jumped in and delivered a message of faith on the National Mall. This was President Trump.
Of the Lord and the King's house, and all that came into Solomon's heart to make in the house of the Lord, and in his own house he prosperously effected. And the Lord appeared to Solomon by night and said to him, I have heard your prayer and have chosen this place for myself for a house of sacrifice. If I shut up heaven, that there be no rain, or if I command the locusts to devour the land, or if I send pestilence among my people, if my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. Now my eyes shall be open and my ears attent to the prayer that is made in this place. For now I have chosen and sanctified this house, that my name may be there forever, and my eyes and my heart shall be there perpetually. And as for you, if you will walk before me, as David your father walked, and do according to all that I have commanded you, and shall observe my statutes and my judgments, then will I establish the throne of my kingdom according to as I have covenanted with David your father, saying there shall not fail you as a man to be ruler in Israel. But if you turn away and forsake my statutes and my commandments, which I have set before you, and shall go and serve other gods and worship them, then will I pluck them up from the roots out of my land which I have given them, and this house which I have sanctified for my name will I cast out of my sight, and will make it to be a proverb and a byword among nations.
That was the president, again, at the Rededicate 250 ceremony over the weekend, National Mall, thousands of Christians in attendance. I love the public proclamations of faith from all of the members of the administration. I will point out, though, it wasn't just words over the weekend. There was a bit of action. We had we have Christians being slaughtered. We are the most persecuted religion on the face of the earth. Make no mistake about it. We get comfy and we get real cozy here in America because of all the freedom and the liberty and the safety that we have, that we forget just how hard it is to be Christians in other nations. And in Nigeria, there's a lot of Islamists that have been persecuting Christians. And while President Trump said some nice things at the Rededicate 250, he also had a lot of actions over the weekend as well.
Trump announced that early Saturday morning, U.S. and Nigerian forces carried out a mission to kill members of ISIS, including ISIS commander Abu Bilal al-Manuki. The U.S. military's Africa Command calling him the most active terrorist in the world, saying he had a history of helping plan attacks and abductions.
That's the president coming to the defense of Christians being slaughtered by Muslims worldwide, excuse me. This is happening in so many countries. And the president over the weekend, while he made that proclamation of faith, he also put his foot down elsewhere in the world. It's 10:52. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy with Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and this morning we are out and about at my house, my brand new house that I've been talking about on the radio, with Nate from USS. What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm excellent. How about you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
We invited Nate out. Now, obviously, when you're a new homeowner, especially when you buy a house that's got a few years on it, you don't know what you're dealing with in terms of foundation. And I know that Nate knows a lot more about what I don't see and what I don't know about than I do. So bring the experts out and get them to check out your house. Hey guys, Matt Murphy again with Nate with USS, and Nate has just wrapped up kind of a look at the house. And Nate, what'd you find?
Well, your house is in pretty good shape for the age of it. I had to look pretty hard to find.
Okay.
Your house being on a slope like it is here, I think we could do a lot of good by trying to terminate your downspouts a little further from the house there.
Okay.
Roof water is the killer of foundations, and so if we can just get it to a positive grade to drain away from your house, I think that's real cheap insurance.
You want to kind of get it out and downhill.
That's right. Yeah.
That's
So
the idea.
make sure that it doesn't come right back down towards the foundation walls and causing issues, settlement or leakage.
Now, if folks are watching this video and they are like, we need to get Nate out to the house to do a look. I mean, it took, I watched you do it. It's, 30, 45 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
To do a comprehensive kind of an examination around the house. And they just give you a call and schedule?
Yeah, absolutely. You can call our main phone number, or you can call reach USSTN.com and schedule right through the website there. Our girls in the call center will get back to you just about immediately, as long as it's during business hours. So
this just makes a lot of sense, folks, for you guys to do an examination of your house like we've done, to check it out. I'm going to get those gutters done with Nate and his team at USS, and then we'll do a video and let you know how those look at the end of all of this. So thank you, guys.
Hey, that'd be great.
We appreciate you, brother.
Matt, we appreciate you.
Pete Hegseth speaking earlier. They've gathered all of the top generals in the entire world, brought them to Quantico and said, stop being fat and gay. Maybe I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but that's generally the message that we're getting.
No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses. No more climate change worship. No more division, distraction, or gender delusions. No more debris. We are done with that shit. Standards must be uniform, gender neutral, and high. Frankly, it's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon. But if the words I'm speaking today are making your heart sink, then you should do the honorable thing and resign.
Stop being so fat and so gay. Let's focus on the mission. If you can do the job, you're welcome here. No matter your sexual orientation
will
or
be
your skin.
selected for a Super Bowl. We'll give you the timeline. Right now, Clarksville police investigating a shooting after someone broke into a woman's apartment. These stories and more coming up at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The Super Bowl's cool. WrestleMania is even cooler.
Probably might draw more people.
I think it will. Plus, I don't think anybody's going to be excited. Like, the Super Bowl will be fun, but you know what would actually make the city more money?
What's that?
An NFL team that could get some playoff home games. Sorry, everybody knows it's true.
That's a hot take, right there.
Listen, you get us 1 or 2 playoff home games a year, and then here's the other thing. I was talking to a guy who I know. He used to play for the Titans, and he's played for a few pro teams. And he said, you'd really have the best. You have the best location money wise to get the best free agents in all of sports, because in the NFL you're paying taxes everywhere you play, right?
Yeah.
But with the Titans, you have 8 games in Tennessee with no state income tax. Then you have a game in Florida with no state income tax, and you have a game in Texas with no state income tax. Like, there's a lot of benefit to playing in Tennessee that you don't even see before you even get to the on-field stuff. And I said, well, what's holding Tennessee back? And he just looked at me and goes, ownership. Can they sell the team? Do you think that they'd be willing to?
Well, it just depends on how much money's involved, Brother Chris. Everybody's got a price.
It's going to be a lot more now. They're getting a Super Bowl.
Maybe.
No, nobody cares.
We don't know for sure.
I think the Super Bowl is we're all going to be annoyed. I don't think anybody's going to have fun.
Come on, Brother Chris. Maybe they'll double the number of pedal taverns in our way.
Oh, yes. Just exciting things. Exciting things. Hey, speaking of the NFL, have you heard what the Florida and the Florida Attorney General in the state of Florida is now doing?
I have not.
Ooh, get ready. It's spicy. They're investigating the NFL for DEI hiring. And it all goes back to the Rooney Rule. I'll play you the clip when we get back. Attorney General James Uthmeyer, not exactly impressed with how the NFL is discriminatory in their hiring processes. I'll talk about that when we get back. It's 11 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Eleven o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We're looking like we might reach some record high temperatures for this day in history. We'll have to keep an eye on that. I know it's already warm out there. Also, Nashville, we may know by this time tomorrow whether Nashville is going to host its first ever Super Bowl. Multiple reports say NFL owners are expected to approve the bid as early as tomorrow morning. This would be the Super Bowl in 2030. The game, of course, would be played at the new Titan Stadium set to open next year. If finalized, it would mark a major moment for Music City on the global stage. I guess another major moment for Music City on the global stage. News 2 says Clarksville police are investigating a shooting following a reported home break-in early this morning. Officers say it happened around 1:40 this morning on Trenton Road, where a woman allegedly shot a man who forced entry into her home. The suspect was airlifted to a Nashville hospital with multiple gunshot wounds. His condition not immediately known. Police say everyone involved is cooperating. And Lebanon police say they arrested a 25-year-old man after he tried to enter a running airplane at Lebanon Municipal Airport. Officers responded to a 911 call about the man trying to get on this single-engine aircraft as it was idling. Police found Joshua Sumner in the pilot's lounge where he became combative and allegedly tried to grab an officer's weapon. He's believed to have been under some sort of drug. He now faces multiple charges. President Trump threatening Iran that time is of the essence, posting over the weekend, Iran better get moving or there won't be anything left of them. The president planning a national security meeting for tomorrow at the White House. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers.
We were told that he also had conversations over the weekend with Vice President Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, the CIA director, as well as his special envoy Steve Witkoff. But tomorrow's meeting is set to talk about next steps in Iran and potential military operations. The president's been asked that question so many times of what could potentially trigger a return to major combat operations, and the president will not say, but just said you'll know it when that happens.
Well, the president insisting Iran must give up its nuclear development and turn over its enriched uranium. This morning, Iran says they've sent their response saying they will not negotiate over their right to enrichment. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
.1106 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. We were talking before the break about the Super Bowl coming to Nashville. Nobody's excited. I mean, everybody knows it's going to be more of a headache than it's worth, and we're probably not going to make any money. And then there's all the human trafficking that comes with the Super Bowl, but we'll just forget about that. Just don't ask any questions. Everything's fine. Never heard about that kind of an issue with WrestleMania.
Nope.
I'm just saying. I did say I was talking to Matt Murphy. I said this is a couple of weeks ago when the news sort of broke, when it was like leaked.
Yeah, when it was
Mr. Dan Patrick was talking about it.
Yeah.
And I said to Murphy, I was like, listen, I'm way more excited about the Super Bowl. Whose butt do I mean, about WrestleMania. Whose butt do I have to kiss to get in there? Because I'll do it. For me and the boys? Are you kidding? WrestleMania? I'll do a little butt kissing.
Just get you some media passes.
Dude, can you help me, Ken? I need it for me and my two boys.
I can try, brother.
Point me in the direction of whose rear end I need to kiss.
You may not have to kiss anybody's butt.
I'll be puckering. For my boys, I'll pucker.
Just say you're just going to report on it. You got a 100,000-watt flamethrower you can talk about WrestleMania on.
This is actually true.
Yeah.
I could. It's going to be sick. I would definitely do WrestleMania over the Super Bowl. Who wouldn't, to be perfectly honest with you? And then you don't have to deal with a woke halftime show.
That's probably true.
What America-hating artists are they going to get for the Super Bowl halftime show in Nashville? You know, it's like it's the country music capital of the world. You know what we'll get? We'll get like Cardi B. And it'll be awesome. And everybody will be like, she'll wear a cowboy hat. Shut up, bigot. All right. Sorry.
We'll get Bad Bunny again.
Sorry. Oh, it was awesome the last time. The Super Bowl halftime show when you're in the stadium looks even worse than it does on TV. Okay, so I had mentioned the NFL is being investigated by the Attorney General James Uthmeier in Florida, and it's because of DEI hiring, and they're saying that they're discriminating against white people in favor of minorities.
He's issued an investigative subpoena over the Rooney Rule, saying the league's diversity hiring policies might violate Florida law. The NFL says the rule does not set quotas and that hiring decisions are based on merit. Florida Attorney General James Uthmeier joins me now. So
before we get to James Uthmeier, everybody knows that that's bovine scatology, right? I mean, the Rooney Rule says you have to interview minority candidates, and it's like, of all places where meritocracy should be taking place, it should be in the world of sports. You either can do the job at a high level or you can't. And so what are we doing here? James Uthmeier, though, explains.
General Uthmeier, tell us about what the Rooney Rule says and why it is that Florida thinks it might be breaking the law.
Sure. Well, the Rooney Rule is a discriminatory DEI rule. It's one of these that has stained corporate America, and it violates Florida's civil rights laws. It requires NFL teams to interview black candidates before they hire non-minorities. It had racial quotas for certain assistant coaching positions, and it gives out draft picks, something that's very valuable to a team, based on proof of advancing minorities in employment positions. Now, the NFL has already capitulated. They got rid of their racial hiring quotas for assistant positions, but there are still remnants of the discriminatory rule. So we have taken civil action. We've issued a subpoena to figure out how many people are getting positions based on the color of their skin, how many people are losing positions because of these discriminatory practices. We're going to get some answers, and we will seek legal recourse where necessary.
I love this. I really do. You know, when they do these DEI hiring standards, it doesn't do anything except hold people down. Like it's wrapped in this toxic empathy of lifting others up, but it really does just discriminate against a group of people based on their skin color, which is exactly what we've been told our entire lives is the wrong thing to do. But no. It's only wrong when you do it to that group based on their skin color. When you do it to this group based on their skin color, it's totally okay. And it's not just the NFL. We've seen this take root across all of corporate America. Everybody has seen it. And it's about time that we stopped pretending it doesn't happen. It's okay to be white. It's okay to be white and be good at your job. And it's okay to be white, be good at your job, and then get rewarded for that and promoted and receive some of the best jobs in the country. It's also okay to be black. It's okay to be black and be good at your job and get promoted to some of the best jobs in the country. I think we're past this BS where we have to interview someone of minority complexion because we wouldn't want to be called bigots, would we? It's like, no, I mean, come on. There are some great head coaches in the NFL that are black. There are some great head coaches in the NFL that are white. You know what there is, though? There's a lack of Asian head coaches. Why is there a lack of Asian head coaches? Is the NFL racist against Asians? Like, of course not. Nobody would ever make that claim. Well, because you check the wrong diversity box, and that's not what we're doing here. These rules are just ridiculous.
I have some bullet points that sort of summarize what the NFL is talking about. The Rooney Rule requires NFL teams to interview head coach candidates from various racial backgrounds. It requires teams to hire female or minority candidates for some coaching positions. It provides leadership development opportunities for female and minority staff. And the Mackey Development Program that you see number 4 there gives an opportunity for college-level officials to gain experience. But here's the interesting thing. It rewards, Resolution JC2A, rewards teams with draft picks for promoting minority talent to coaching and managerial positions. So, you know, I'm not sure how to describe this, but it's not necessarily the cream rising to the top. It's rewarding people, it's rewarding teams, I guess you would say, for practices that, that not everybody is seen as equal.
If you have a candidate that hits 10 out of 10, and then you have a candidate that hits 8 out of 10, but the 8 out of 10 candidate comes with some draft picks, how is that fair? How is that creating a level playing field? I got a text here. America being fair. GTFOH, Chris. You're so lame. Is that fair, though? Is it fair that because of the color of my skin, I can be a better candidate than you, but you get a draft pick attached to your hire? Tell me how that's fair. It's not. It's discriminatory. And if it was going in the other direction, these same people that are lashing out and saying, you're so lame, Chris, this is great that the NFL does this, you would be beside yourself. Just replace it. Okay. If we were to say that the NFL is attaching draft picks to a white head coach candidate, a white assistant coach candidate, would you be losing your mind? So why is it okay if we attach it to a black candidate? How does this create the fairness that everybody is screaming about?
That's right. Well, our U.S. Supreme Court has declared policies like this unconstitutional, where you give people jobs and advancement based on the color of their skin. Quite frankly, it's insulting not only to the minorities that go in and have to partake in these interviews just to check a box for the teams to comply with the rules, but it's also insulting to minorities and females that get positions. They're always going to wonder, did they get the position because of merit, because they're good at their jobs, or because of racial and sexist preferences? So this is wrong. It's been great to see much of corporate America run quickly away from these discriminatory practices. The NFL is going to continue to do it, and we're going to be here to hold them legally accountable. You can bet on that.
Well, the commissioner of the NFL, Roger Goodell, you see him on the screen there, was addressing the owners' meeting back in March. He says this is a good thing. Listen.
As you know, the Rooney Rule is not a hiring mandate. It's intended to try to help, and it's been used by industries far beyond football and far beyond the United States to help identify candidates and a diverse set of candidates, bring in better talent.
You know, I think he's right. Roger Goodell is too white for his job, and maybe we need a more diverse commissioner of the NFL. Maybe that would fix things in the NFL. Maybe. We need to get away from this. You're never going to have a colorblind society if you have these DEI, the DEI standards across the corporate world, the NFL world. And the Trump administration has done a good job on pushing back against this kind of stuff. Stephen Miller had made a strong case against it some weeks back. This was Stephen Miller.
One of the most significant crises that President Trump inherited upon taking office was the wave of racial discrimination, so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion policies that have taken over both public sector and private sector entities all across the United States of America. Perhaps the most dramatic example of this is that our air traffic controllers were being hired and promoted based on race and gender, not their ability to conduct our nation's air traffic.
Which is insane. Like, the NFL is going to take a lot more spotlight on this than air traffic controllers, but the NFL is like a microcosm of the nation in a sense. If we can get it out of here, then we can get it out of everywhere else. And a lot of these jobs, you're going to be putting people in danger. It's like the old joke. Who do you want flying the plane? The white guy, the black guy, or the Asian guy? The pilot? It's like, yes, exactly. It doesn't matter what skin color they are. But when you start prioritizing other skin colors over other skin colors, you're not going to get the best candidate every single time.
I would estimate that probably 90% of Americans would agree with the statement that airline safety should be based on your ability to keep, airline safety jobs should be based on your ability to keep planes landing and taking off and flying safely, not on what demographic box you check. President Trump has ended across the entire federal government all hiring, recruiting, retention, promotion, and training based on race and sex. This includes in our law enforcement agencies. So, again, when we took office, even in sensitive law enforcement, national security, and intelligence agencies, we were hiring individuals not on their ability to carry a weapon, not on their ability to keep Americans safe, not on their ability to conduct sensitive intelligence operations, but based upon race and sex. And obviously, that is unacceptable. It's going to be merit-based across the whole federal government. But this wasn't just the federal government. This was the private sector, and this was also, of course, our entire university and education system.
He's right. And there's example after example after example when it comes to the private sector. I think we covered this a couple weeks ago, but there's a white male employee who is claiming DEI practices basically cost him promotions at the New York Times. And the paper, the paper was forced to report on this because he has since filed a lawsuit about it.
The white man claiming the New York Times discriminates against white men. An employee at the Times is claiming DEI policies cost him a promotion in 2025. And the Times allegedly broke the story on itself. Now the Trump administration's Equal Employment Opportunity Commission is suing the paper. The lawsuit claims the Times' race and gender goals influenced its decision not to advance the employee. It also claims the final round of candidates matched the race and gender the paper wanted more of in leadership: a white female, black male, Asian female, and multiracial female. But a spokesperson for the Times denies the claims, calling the case politically motivated, and insists its hiring practices are merit-based.
Sure they are. I think that's what we all want. I don't necessarily believe the failing New York Times that their hiring practices are merit-based. And I do believe that one of the ways we get back to American greatness is getting back to merit-based hiring across every sector. The NFL doing what they're doing, Attorney General James Uthmeyer looking into it, I think is a step in the right direction, and is going to be a public backlash against these kind of practices. We'll be following that story should anything come out of the state of Florida and their investigation here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Zero Res Nashville. It is that time of the year. The weather is getting good, which means the kids are going to have a hard time choosing whether they want to be in the house or outside of the house. They're going to keep coming back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You're like, guys, pick one. They never do. And they track in dirt with them every single time. And it gets on the carpets, it gets on the floors, it creates a mess. Now, it used to stress me out. It doesn't stress me out anymore. I call my friends at Zero Res. They always come through. They always clean it up, and they always do a fantastic job. These guys are the Maha of carpet cleaners, and they don't use harsh chemicals. They don't leave soaps. They don't leave soap residue behind. That means the carpets are clean, but it's also going to be safe for the entire family and the pets. And the difference is obvious right away. The carpets are going to feel better, look better, feel softer, and dry faster than any cleaning that you've ever had done before. And I'm not the only one noticing it. These guys have some of the best reviews in all of Nashville, thousands of reviews, and almost a 5-star flawless rating. Right now, they're running 2- and 3-room carpet specials. Call 615-535-9376, 615-535-9376, or go to ZeroResNashville.com and book today.
Hey, this is Pastor Al, and join us on Super Talk 99.7, Sunday evenings from 7 to 8. We're going to look at the news from a biblical perspective.
All right, drivers, we got an injury crash on Hillsborough Pike right there at I-440. And by this time tomorrow morning, we could know if and when a Super Bowl is going to be held here in Music City. This story and more coming up at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Just got a text from my friend Brian at 615-737-9986. He said he's been crunching numbers, and he found something out very disturbing. I don't know if you knew this, but 0% of the coaches in the NFL are from Pakistan. And this is wrong.
What?
And it needs to be addressed. So I had no idea, and I've completely changed my opinion on diversity hiring. Why shouldn't a Pakistani man be able to coach an NFL team? You know, this is how absurd it gets. I had another texter, and he said, what was it? Aren't white people a minority in the NFL? Actually, last time I checked, the league is like 60% black. It's true. It's true. Judge on merit, not on color, says 3667. You're right. Let's go to Gary in Springfield. What's up, Gary? How are you?
Hey, listen, it's hard for me to follow that one, okay?
Well, listen, I think we can all agree that we need more Pakistani coaches. I've actually, upon reading that text, I've also I've come to the disturbing revelation that we have no Sri Lankan coaches. And
I know this. There are 0 Jewish suicide bomber teams in the world.
Oh, I don't know if that's the diversity, equity, and inclusion we want, Gary. But,
well, I don't either. Well, here it is. This is what I told your screener. I turned 73 last Monday. I can't believe I made it this far. But, after I retired from the military, I ended up in state government in a very significant decision eventually, and big budget and all that.
Cool.
And my staff was expanding, and we were going through a hiring process, and it came down to 3 people. And, I'm the MAGA guy, today you would call MAGA guy. I retired in 2013, so I've been retired for a while. So anyway, I'm the guy with the King James Bible on my desk, nice big office, and come down to 3 people, and one of the guys was gay. And, I mean, he's kind of really, openly. And I ended up picking him. And so there are a few liberal people, real Democrats in state government.
Mm-hmm.
And they're on the big team, And so I hired him, and he turned out to be worth 2 employees. And so finally I got approached in my office by somebody who was 2 levels higher than me, and said, gosh darn, Gary, you hired him, and you're really a Democrat, aren't you? No, I'm a Republican and a conservative. So, we were surprised. And then I said, you think you people, because in state government, if anyone brings up politics, it's okay to talk about it. Anytime, it's totally legal. So I said, so you Democrats have got the corner on equality, fairness, compassion, and all. And I always got rated maxed. I was always taken care of as far as that went. Because if you're technically proficient and know your job and perform, you're going to be taken care of.
Right.
Okay, that will happen. So I said I hired him because he was the best, and he was. And there was one time he came in my office, asked to talk to me, and said, sure, go ahead, close the door. He had tears in his eyes. He said, I've never been taken care of by anybody better than you. You're the best boss I've ever had.
I mean, it goes back to the argument. If you can do the job, you should be getting hired. Period.
Yes, absolutely. And I've always been that way, even in my military career. I mean, you got to take care of people. You take care of people.
Yep.
And now, can I be honest with you? I don't know if I could do the trans thing with somebody coming in with a dress on. And thank God Tennessee's got a dress code.
Well, I hear you, Gary.
That one I couldn't tell. You know what, the earrings and all? No, I don't know.
I hear you, and I think that would be tough. It might be an office place distraction. But listen, I worked at Turning Point USA, and I'll tell you what, we had gay coworkers, and they got hired not because they were gay, but because they could do the damn job. And I know one guy in particular, very flamboyant, very efficient, very good at what he did. And that's all that mattered. It's 11:30, Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
$11:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Hey, we got a crash right now in Dixon County that is blocking the right lane of 40 westbound right before you get to I-840. Also, West End over there at Natchez Trace got a crash. The Super Bowl could be coming to Nashville in 2030, and we could find out as soon as tomorrow when league owners are set to vote on awarding the game to the city at their spring meetings. Again, it could come tomorrow morning. President Trump holding a national security meeting tomorrow after threatening Iran that they better get moving or there won't be anything left of them. Here's Karen Travers.
The president posted over the weekend, the clock is ticking and Iran better get moving fast or there won't be anything left of them. And he ends it by saying time is of the essence. But there is no specific time frame from the president on when he wants to see something from Iran. There's no deadline that he has put on this. And that's a big question right now. It's notable over the last several weeks since this ceasefire has been extended that we haven't seen deadlines put in place by the president for Iran to take some action, come back to the negotiating table, or make a deal.
Well, scammers better find a new way to get money out of their victims. ABC's Jim Ryan says the world's largest operator of cryptocurrency kiosks is being forced to shut down, not by law enforcement, but by market forces.
It starts with a text or phone call, someone posing as a bank employee telling the recipient they need to withdraw all of their money and feed it into a crypto kiosk. Bitcoin Depot, the largest network of Bitcoin ATMs, says it's tried to enhance the security of its machines, but that the bad press generated by scammers has made its business model unworkable.
That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friend Aaron Parker over at Parker Safes and Vaults. They're a veteran-owned, family-run safe and vault door business right here in Middle Tennessee. If you need to get a safe, you need to get one from Aaron. Let's be honest, a lot of us want a safe, but we've been putting it off because we got to figure out a lot of things. Which one do we get? Where do we buy it? Where do we put it? How do we get it installed? Well, Aaron and his sons, they're going to help you take care of all of those needs, all of those issues. For starters, jump on their YouTube page. Search Parker Safes on YouTube. You'll find a detailed video review of every safe they have in stock. From there, once you kind of identify the few that you like, they'll help you choose the best safe for your needs and your budget. They'll offer advice on the best place to put it. Then Aaron and his sons will deliver it and carefully install it themselves discreetly and professionally. They got some great deals going on right now. Plenty of safes in stock and ready to go. Not safes built for marketing that can be tipped over and pried open by a teenager. These are real safes from American Security, Rhino, Liberty, Heyman, and more. Don't put it off any longer. Call Aaron today. You'll be glad you did. 931-842-6445. 931-842-6445. It's Parker Safes and Vaults. And if you mention the Chris Hand Show and you buy your safe, you'll get a free pistol safe while supplies last. ParkerSafes.com. 36 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. You can find me on all the social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, at Chris Hand on air. Hit the follow button. I will follow back. We got Mason Fleming producing. We got Ken Weaver in the newsroom. And it's about that time where we jump in to the lightning round.
It's the lightning round with Chris Hand.
We do it every day at this time. We run through all the stories that wouldn't make a whole segment. Stories that we ran out of time to get to. And stories that we just think are hilarious. And we like to call it the lightning round. First story in the lightning round. Well, we're going to start at the University of Arizona. They had CEO of Google, Eric Schmidt, doing one of them speeches at the graduation, and he brought up AI, and the college kids there, not fans of AI at all. In fact, one of them posted this on social media and said, this is actually a humiliation ritual, because he brought it up and he got mercilessly booed. Listen to this.
If science is not your passion, if you don't care about science, that's okay, because AI is going to touch everything else as well. Whatever path you choose, AI will become part of how work is done. If you have an idea for a company, you can build a...
Everybody booing him out of the building when he brings up AI. All these college kids that graduated because of it. It's truth. AI is growing increasingly unpopular. Are you aware of that?
Just a little bit.
Axios says this, an AI hate wave is here. If AI were a candidate for political office, it would be losing in a landslide. The AI hype cycle would have you believe that the technology is inevitable, but AI backlash is growing as people worry it will steal their jobs, jack up electricity rates, and further enrich the wealthy, all while hurting the environment. A commencement address went viral this month after a Florida real estate executive, Gloria Caulfield, said artificial intelligence is the next industrial revolution, sparking a chorus of boos. I just played you the one from over the weekend at University of Arizona. But they say the speaker could have avoided the jeers had she checked out the latest polls. Only 18% of young people aged 14 to 29 say they feel hopeful about AI, according to a recent Gallup survey. The disdain spans generations and political parties. An Economist YouGov poll released this week showed over 70% of Americans think AI is advancing too quickly, with 68% of Republicans and 77% of Democrats saying it's moving too fast. Other YouGov polling show negative views of AI rising from 34% 3 years ago to just over 50% now. In previous conversations with Axios, AI executives at multiple frontier AI labs say they were surprised by the negative opinions. They see AI as inevitable as the rise of the internet. Asked about backlash to AI, Superhuman Mail CEO Rahula Vora, whose company makes an AI-powered email assistant, seemed unfamiliar with the premise of the question after hearing about the poor polling. He responded, "We don't really see that." Of course you don't. I think the rise of the data center constructions has become very, very unpopular. I got a tweet over the weekend where someone was nervous on X and tagged me and Matt Murphy about a data center at Fisk in Nashville. He said, "I'm not interested in my power bill tripling." And I don't think there's any data that's going to say that your power bill is going to go up because of data centers in the area. Your electricity bill is going to go up because of data centers. That's not there yet. It could happen. I'm not saying it won't. But I think these instant jump-ins of AI positive voices make me even more skeptical. So Americans for Prosperity, I don't know if you know this, they're funded by the Koch brothers. That's who funds Americans for Prosperity. And this guy on Twitter, he tagged me and Matt Murphy and Dan Mandis, and then instantly an AFP guy jumps in the conversation. He says, data centers don't cause high energy bills. Liberal green energy agendas and NIMBYism that restrict new power generation cause high energy bills. High energy bills are a policy decision that the left and right seemingly happily agree on, just by different means. And I think there's a lot of truth in his statement. But what turns me off is the fact that you have pro-AI voices coming from guys in the Koch network, and the Koch brothers are super invested in these data centers. So everything that comes out of that, I'm going to immediately take with a grain of salt. So I said, incoming pro data center voice from the guy that works for the Koch network. Yuck. He says, incoming logical fallacies. Yuck. Okay. Well, fair enough. It might not raise your power bill, but these data centers, it's eventually going to turn into the mass surveillance network that nobody wants.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the issue here. I'm not really worried about the power bill, but when you try to sell me on it and your guys are invested in it, yuck. Nobody wants mass surveillance. And I think that a lot of kids are looking at this. A lot of young people are looking at this going, oh, so you're going to eliminate my job and you're going to mass surveil me and we're going to get a social credit score and it doesn't seem like it's the yellow brick road that everybody painted.
Yeah, it's the big brother situation that nobody wants.
And I think that people are turning away from it fast.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is it just me? I don't.
No, people have pulled out funding in a lot of areas.
Also, like, how much more AI do we need? Like, I feel like we're at a point where, like, we can all agree, like, yeah, what we have now is pretty helpful and it's cool and, like, okay. Why do we need these data centers? Anybody?
Why are cameras going up in neighborhoods?
Dude, you drive through Murfreesboro now, there's cameras on every corner.
All the way towards my parents' house.
Nobody voted for them.
Nope.
Nobody.
They were just there.
And people will make the argument that we need license plate readers, and it's like, okay. I felt like we did well without them. And eventually these are just going to be turned into a mass surveillance network.
Yeah. Where does it stop?
Where does it stop? It's a good question. All right, got another story for you here in the lightning round. If you're watching on Super Talk TV, there's a video that accompanies this, which is just absolutely crazy. There was an air show in Idaho, and
I saw this.
2 U.S. Navy Growler jets collided in midair. Now, as I'm watching this, I didn't realize that they were colliding because it's an air show. I thought they were doing like some sort of maneuver. But they absolutely collide, and then you see all of the pilots eject. And it's just terrifying. But there is some good news. All the pilots are safe. And that's the latest that we have. But these air shows, man, you see the guys coming down, and they're coming down in this cloud of black smoke. Absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, I had to count through the debris to make sure I saw 4 parachutes.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, kids would be scarred if they watched that air show.
For sure. If they hadn't made it out of there, absolutely.
Somebody said, who are you putting your money on to be at fault? Lieutenant Kevin Lynch, Lieutenant Abigail White, Lieutenant Hardy Davis, Lieutenant Nick Eckhart. Oh, don't do that.
Nick, watch out.
You go with Nick? Is that who you're going with? Okay. Got another story for you here in the lightning round.
Another one.
So I don't know if you know this. There was a Comedy Central roast on Netflix, or it's sort of like a Comedy Central roast. There was a Netflix roast. They were roasting Kevin Hart, and I played one of the jokes from Shane Gillis where he was introducing Chelsea Handler and he absolutely roasted her. But there was jokes about everybody, and I didn't see any conservatives hand wringing over the Charlie Kirk jokes that were made by Pete Davidson. I didn't bring it up here. I think comedy is just that, as distasteful as jokes can be. You gotta let free speech ride, right? Like, that's how free speech works. Like, we don't have to defend the things we like. We have to defend the things we hate. And, like, I'm not a guy that's going to laugh at a Charlie Kirk assassination joke. But, like, I will defend somebody's right to make a joke like that, as disgusting and distasteful as I think it might be. Okay? So let that kind of be the base, right? Yeah, there are nasty jokes that are made at roasts. Political jokes, jokes about the dead, and people will have their feelings hurt. That's comedy. That is what it is. Again, I don't agree with the Charlie Kirk jokes. I wouldn't make them myself, but we're here. Did you see any press conferences from conservatives over the Charlie Kirk jokes? Did you see any massive or backlash or statements from that? No, I did not. That was not the same for the George Floyd joke, actually. The George Floyd joke received massive backlash and a press conference crash out from BLM leaders. Yep, you heard me right. When Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated for exercising his free speech, there's a joke about that. Nobody loses their mind. But when a guy who overdosed from fentanyl and was robbing pregnant women at gunpoint, you make a joke about him, and everybody loses their mind. And they had a press conference about it.
Again, it is not a laughing matter. We are here today to call your attention to the fact that an egregious, disgusting joke was made about George Floyd. Here we are about to memorialize George Floyd for year 6 after his brutal murder at the hands of the Minneapolis Police Department.
Derek Chauvin did nothing wrong, by the way. George Floyd was still breathing and was he could have been saved had he not overdosed on fentanyl. When they got him to the hospital, he was still alive.
Our community is still experiencing grief and trauma. We have young people in our community who were children at the time. They're now teenagers, still dealing with the impacts.
Yeah, because you burned down entire cities, up to and including police departments and Wendy's and the supermarkets in the area. You burned down small businesses. Everybody is still feeling the impact from George Floyd's death, and it was basically at the hands of the Black Lives Matter protesters. That's why you're still feeling impacts.
Of the police killing of George Floyd. And instead of allowing our community to grieve in peace, to celebrate George Floyd in peace, we have Netflix comedians making light of the brutal killing of George Floyd. It is unacceptable and it is unconscionable. Tony Hinchcliffe made a grotesque joke saying that George Floyd is looking up at us, laughing, and he can't breathe. When I saw the clip online, it made me sick to my stomach. We are here to declare today that there needs to be accountability for Kevin Hart's Netflix roast.
Yeah. Okay. I just can't with these people. And to be honest with you, like, this wasn't even the most viral joke that came out of it. I didn't even hear it until the BLMers were crashing out in a press conference. If you missed it, this was the joke.
You've done good, though, Kevin. The black community is so proud of you right now. George Floyd is looking up at us all, laughing so hard that he can't breathe.
Okay. 6 years is not enough time. Is that? Well, there are kids still feeling the impacts from this, Chris. Yep. What do you think impacted the kids more? George Floyd dying or the protesters burning down their cities across America? I'll wait. Hey, speaking of those kids that are still feeling the impact from this, how many playgrounds did Black Lives Matter build for those kids with the money that they got from the George Floyd donations? How many schools did they build? How did they use that money, use that moment to improve the black lives that matter so much? Does anybody know? Oh, that's right. It never happened. It was a complete grift and a scam the entire time. And they bought a bunch of real estate. So, okay. Who should they be more mad at? Tony Hinchcliffe for making a joke at a roast? Or the Black Lives Matter protesters? Got it. Do we have time for another one? I got time for one more story here in the lightning round. Speaking of AI, I probably should have done this in reverse order. So we were talking about AI being a little bit spooky, right? Guess what you can do now? A startup company in China is selling for $3. An AI clone of your deceased loved ones.
Yeah, how about no?
So dude, it's spooky. So you send them pictures, videos, and voice recordings, and they'll build a version of your loved one that sounds, looks, and talks exactly like the person who passed away. I don't know if this Chinese song is copyrighted. But it shows somebody that's like a little box, like a little handheld box, and there's a holographic version of your relative or loved one. Is that spooky? Is that too spooky for me?
Does it talk back to you?
Yeah, like it responds to you. We're going to see more and more of this. You know that, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Now, part of me is torn, right? Like, if grandma is 95 and she just lost grandpa.
Yeah.
And grandma lives alone in a nursing home. But then I think on the other side, there's going to be some weird dependency with this where it's a 40-year-old woman who loses her mind and is just talking to her mom all the time, and it's a computer. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I think there's a yin and a yang to this.
I mean, we've already crossed the boundary where people are dating AI men and women online already. They're having full conversations doing that already. Adding a face of somebody that they used to love doesn't surprise me.
People are already using it to talk to their dead parents, grandparents, and children.
Jeez.
Like, I just feel like that doesn't lead to any happiness.
Especially because you have to send all those people's information to the company to be able to replicate it. So it's more information being given openly to a company to sell.
I also feel like it doesn't actually let you grieve.
No.
Like if you're doing that with like your kids, then you're never going to get over the fact that they're not. You know, and I don't know if you ever would get over the fact, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't wish that on anybody. But I don't know if this is the right way for it.
But being able to emotionally move on won't happen. It'll be stunted because you are stuck here.
Yeah. It's a crazy story. $3 though. I mean, this is going to be everywhere. Pretty soon companies will offer this for free, and then you'll be talking to your deceased father, and then an ad will pop up. You have to wait for the ad to get through, and then you'll be able to keep talking to dad.
Yeah, you'll have an ad pop up of your dad telling you about what's going on in the commercial.
Also, this is not your loved one.
No.
Yeah, there'll be product placement in it.
For sure.
Well, son, sit down and drink a nice cold can of
Budweiser.
Yeah, exactly. Grab yourself
Dad, you were an alcoholic. You don't drink.
It's spooky, man. That's dark. All right, that does it for the lightning round. It's 11:54. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friend Shane Ring over at Cover Nash. If you're tired of health insurance that feels like a math test with confusing percentages, surprise bills, fine print that bites back, Shane can simplify the entire process for you over at Cover Nash, and he can probably save you some good coin at the exact same time. They have a brand new nationwide PPO plan that will give you the freedom to pick your own doctors anywhere in the U.S. We're not talking Obama style. We're talking real deal. No referrals, no red tape. Just a $250 deductible, a flat $50 copay for any doctor, even specialists. Outpatient surgeries, $250 copay. Hospital stays, just $1,000 total. And it comes with free preventative care, colonoscopies, mammograms, physicals, because it is ACA compliant. And here's the kicker. No surprise bills, no hidden fees, just real protection from real providers. And if that's not the perfect fit, well, Cover Nash works with over 75 top-rated insurance companies, so they'll find something that works for your budget and your needs. You can visit covernash.com, or you can pick up the phone and call Shane right now. If I'm a betting man, he's sitting at his desk waiting for your call, 615-465-0023. That's 615-465-0023. Cover Nash is going to make health insurance simple for you. Finally, covernash.com. 59 minutes past the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Mason Fleming producing. Ken Weaver in the newsroom. Chad Benson's in studio. What's up, dude?
Man, that's what we got for baseball?
Yeah, well, we'll talk about it off the air.
Are you, like, pushing my... What's the deal in there? Who's running the show?
You're on the wrong mic there.
How am I on the wrong mic?
Because this is the one. It's because the weekend shows come in and they move everything. And usually, when Dan's in here, I have to fix all of the stuff that the weekend shows do. But Dan wasn't in here this morning because he's been busy having a grandbaby over the weekend.
Oh, my God.
So I got in here, and I just came in the big chair.
Yeah, you did. You got the big chairs over there.
I'm in the big boy chair today.
It's funny how the weekend people move that over there, huh?
Oh, yeah.
You see that right there, Ken? See the way they do that? They come on in here like they own the joint.
I don't think it'd be like it is, but it did.
I don't think it'd be like it is, but it do be being like it is. You know what I'm saying? That'd be being like, you know what I'm being?
What are you talking about today?
We're going to talk about the Ebola virus, apparently.
Sweet.
Pretty
is that
excited.
back on the menu, boys?
It is. I'm trying to figure out what the toilet to toilet paper ratio I need for this one.
All right.
Pretty excited about that.
I've been stocking up.
We all should be. Talk a little bit about maybe Iran. Luigi Mangione.
People like him.
People be liking him.
It's just crazy.
It's so weird.
My thing with Luigi is, like, you do understand that, like, the CEO of the company is not the one denying your claim.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so stupid.
Yeah.
It's like when people get mad about Trump, it's like, you do know that, like, he's not the guy in the back redacting the Epstein files.
Yeah. I mean,
like, he's not going through the 3 million files himself.
No, God, no. But
and the same thing with this Brian Thompson. He wasn't the one going, ha, ha, ha. Nope.
No,
like,
but he did push a lot. That's the thing is they said he pushed a lot, changed it to make sure that you deny it. But it's just not, by the way, that's all of them that do that, though,
yes.
now. You know,
Yes.
and that's what's ridiculous about it. Like, pay. Hey, I need something. Sorry, can't have it denied. Well, what am I giving you money for? I could have just saved the money and then paid for it cash.
It's true. I'm not like pro insurance company guy. I just think that a dude with a family who's trying to do his job, maybe we shouldn't celebrate his murder.
No, we shouldn't celebrate anybody's murder. No chance in hell should we celebrate. But that being said, the fact is a lot of people like this Luigi character.
Yep.
It's a weird world we live in now, guys. He's the anti-hero.
It's bananas. Chad's in next. It's 12:01 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.